What's going on, everyone? My name is Braden, and I'm here back with Stay Plugged In. And today we're doing an interview with Utica University, specifically the director of esports there. It is Daniel Sportello. How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing great. Thank you for taking the time to hop on with us. And we just wanted to ask some quick questions about the spin showcases. I know you were heavily recruiting, specifically the Valorant and League of Legends ones here the past 2 weeks ago. How did you like the event, and what was your main focus going into those?
Yeah, I always love coming to the showcase events. They're always very productive. Honestly, I just like getting to meet people, and I like that these students who are trying to go to school for esports, they honestly have a voice when they come to these showcases, especially when they get to come and meet the directors and meet other players and talk to these schools. Because outside of those showcase events, there's not very many avenues to do stuff like that. Yeah, of course, Stay Plugged In's entire mission is for us to connect, but that takes things to a new level, I think, and it really helps us align with how traditional sports handle their stuff as well, with their combines and their tryouts and the way that they do things. So it's just another step forward in my eyes for esports. So I love everything about it.
Definitely, and you hit it right, the nail right on the head, right? We're trying to bridge that gap where you could have the pro days and the college recruiting days for those traditional
Yep.
sports. Football comes to mind, and you just have hundreds and hundreds of coaches there. We're just trying to do that virtually. It's physically the same thing. Um,
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
so with Utica Esports, what's kind of your stepping forward point with the program, and what are you trying to accomplish here within the next couple years?
So my accomplishments are sorry, my goals are a little different from I would say most programs. So a lot of programs they'll start right off the bat with I want to recruit and I want to win, but I don't see that being productive long term in the collegiate scene. I really do try to take everything similarly to traditional sports in my approach, and I look at the longevity side of things. Internally, if your structure is not there, I don't see it lasting, especially in esports where our foundation is so young. Like we don't have a century of time invested like some of these other sports. It all comes from these program directors, managers, coordinators, whatever the case is. We really have to ingrain like a strong foundation, a strong meaning, like a just overall a mission. The mission of your program should be evolution. It should be development. It shouldn't just be let's recruit the best guys and win a national title because some of the talent out there they might not be the best guys you want to represent your college, right? Like just because you're good at something doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to be the guy that I want. I look for leadership traits. I look for potential that exceeds coming here in the first semester and showing out. I look for growth, and overall, I want everybody who comes to this program to be somebody that I confidently can say, like, yeah, they are going to impact the program and the industry. Because it is important for everybody entering the collegiate esports space to have on their mind, like, all of us have to work to get this to where we want it to be down the road. So that's truly what I look for when I'm recruiting and when I'm building my program, of course.
Absolutely, yeah. You got to build it from that year one, and kind of get that picture of what they're going to be like year four. And if they're not, the perfect candidate, maybe you can grow them into the perfect candidate or something like
Right.
that.
Of
Love
course, and
having.
these guys are young, so like I got to take that into mind. There's 18-year-old freshmen that are coming here, and like 18-year-olds might be an adult, but they still got a lot to learn. So and that's a part of the thing. That's one of the things that I really do strive for in my program is like I want people who come to my program to leave here a better person as well. There's a lot of aspects to life that are outside of esports, and it's important for me to make sure that I'm capitalizing on every single one of those aspects because if I don't, I don't feel like I'm doing my job. If they're coming to my program and they believe in me, that's what I need to do for them.
Definitely, yeah, and your relationship with Spin shows that you recruited, I think, 2 to 3 recruits this year alone from Stay Plugged
Mhm.
In, and maybe more. What were you looking for in those recruits, and maybe what are some of those qualities that you're trying to find in a student?
Yeah, so a lot of it is just kind of what I talked about. I mean, I'm looking for leaders. I'm looking for people that I know I can that are reliable, accountable. Um, I'm not really a big fan of people coming with excuses. As hard as that is for me to say, and I know it's difficult to say it that way, but I truly am looking for people that I know are here to grow and can take these resources to grow and take themselves to the next level. Like we've had people who have had great talent, right? But they just weren't the right people for my program. They weren't the right fit for Utica. And I wish them the best elsewhere. But I'm looking for leaders, man. I'm looking for people who want to grow, looking for people who want to do what I'm doing as a whole. So it really does take the strength of the entire program, like I've said multiple times.
It definitely, and you do have a strong program going there so far. What are some of the main titles you're recruiting for, and what's maybe some highlights from the past year that you could share?
Yeah, so we have Valorant, we have League of Legends, Super Smash Brothers, Call of Duty, Rocket League, and Rainbow Six Siege. Now, our strengths right now are definitely Valorant and Call of Duty. But we're a new program. We launched less than a year ago already. So we've accomplished a lot in under a year. But those are definitely our strengths. And I hope to strengthen everything else down the line in time. But realistically, I feel it's best to kind of, focus on Valorant and Call of Duty specifically right now the most until later down the road when I can start investing in those other titles a little bit more. Just because if I start to spread things out too much, I feel that it's going to hurt me more than benefit me, if that makes sense. So we have offered scholarships in other titles like Smash, like Rocket League. But really, we're really strong in Valorant and COD right now, and that's kind of where the program's trying to grow the most, I'd say.
For sure, and you see programs like that all the time that will grow one specific title, build a successful repertoire there, and then
Mhm.
you just get an influx of students just wanting to go there because they see the success, they see the breeding grounds for winning championships, and I'm sure Utica is going to be
Yeah.
there in no time at all.
Yeah, and going back to your initial point, like some of the highlights that we've had is as a first year program, we've been semifinalists in several conferences and several leagues right off the bat, and a lot of those players have either been replaced or gone or whatever the case is, but it mostly comes down to the resources that we have, and it just shows that we can quite literally take anybody and bring them to the next level as long as that's what they want to do. You know what I mean? As long as they put in the work, as long as they want to get to the next level, we have the resources and we make it happen.
Definitely. And speaking of resources, I will say that your guys' branding is one of my favorites in the collegiate scene by far. I love the colors, love the logo. It looks really, really cool. The jerseys
I
too.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
So we have a new jersey coming out. So be on the lookout for that. There's been a couple of changes. I'm trying to close on a couple of sponsors right now. Things are all looking really well. So definitely going to have a new jersey coming out soon, and it's a lot better than the first one. I think it is anyway. So I'm sure you'll enjoy that one too.
Love that. Yeah, I'll be looking out for it, and best of luck on closing on those sponsors. I know they can really help a program, especially in the early stages like Utica is. Um,
Absolutely, we got some big names coming. So
Love it. Love it. And so, like I mentioned, you've been a long time partner with, or I say long time, for the past year, but you've used Spin to your advantage, I'd say. What's maybe some perks that you saw come out of the Spin showcase that you maybe won't see elsewhere? What's a reason for a recruit to compete in the Spin showcase?
well, it really allows us to see gameplay of each individual. And yes, people have footage, they have their VODs, they have their Twitches, whatever the case is. But honestly, I don't like looking at that stuff. And the reason I don't like looking at that stuff is not to say that I don't use it, but it's not always a team environment. So I would say well over half of the videos that I've watched of somebody's Twitch is like a random pug or just something random, something casual. It's not a team environment. When they're going to these spin showcases, they're playing with people they may or may not know in a team environment, and it's competitive. They're playing for a prize. So there is something to be said about how they play in that environment over a pug. I mean, if you are a gamer, when you compete, the mental gymnastics are there, right? And they're not always there when you're playing a pickup game. So there's a difference in being able to tell where somebody's level is at, where their skill is at, where their mental is at. All of those things apply in the spin showcases, and you really don't get to see that anywhere else unless you're watching their Twitch live and they're playing in a tournament or whatever the case is. But this is just far more accessible, I feel.
And so, break it down a little more on an even level. What's something that we're not doing that maybe you'd want to see at the next showcase or in the next
Mhm.
recruiting event?
Yeah. So, honestly, what I want to see is a tough one. I'm going to be honest with you, and the reason being is I know how it is with recruiting these students already, and I know how it is with just young adults and teenagers in general. Um, my personal opinion is if there's a way to get parents involved more, I think that is extremely important. As I'm a parent, I have a son and I have a daughter, and like everything they do from here until they move out, I want to be a part of. Like I want to make sure that I'm invested in their lives, and I I truly think parents being involved with their students and stuff like this, especially meeting college recruiters, talking to the colleges, getting those financial questions or academic questions out of the way that they want to know. There's nothing more important than that in my eyes. Again, going back to the traditional sports, parents are almost always going to be around when they're going to see a football recruiter, when they're going on a college visit, whatever the case is. I want to see us operate like that. Um, and so, with that being said, when we have those open voice channels, and this is where it'll get tricky, especially with the time, opening up, the video camera, making it a little more authentic when you're meeting somebody, because just talking to them over Discord, I don't feel it's authentic enough. If that makes sense, I want people to be invested the way that I am going to be invested. You know what I mean?
Definitely,
So that's
definitely.
kind of the way. That's kind of like what I've always thought about the showcases that we could definitely squeeze in there. It'll be tricky, like I said, but um, we do have to take things to the next level ultimately as an industry, and I do think that's one of those things. Because there's nothing like Stay Plugged In out there right now for esports. You guys are one of a kind, and we got to make sure we keep it that way. So
Hey, we appreciate that, and your thoughts aren't falling on dead ears. We're a little 2, 3 steps ahead. We're working on some stuff this fall, and
that's good. That's
we're
good.
yeah, we're really excited to bring it to y'all. The parent we've worked with parents in the past. We had an interview with oh, I'm gonna forget his name now. Rocket League player. I think he went to Columbia College, but his parents were, they had Twitter accounts, and it was like mom of blank, dad of blank, and they're quote retweeting everything this kid's putting out. I think he's on an RLCS team now, but yeah, no, we need more of that. Absolutely agree with you.
And I mean, there's something to be said about that too, right? So with parents being involved, it allows a lot of these esports athletes to kind of push themselves to the next level too. A lot of people don't understand that. When it comes to traditional sports, I was a varsity wrestling coach before I landed this job. Okay, so traditional sports is my background. It is. I grew up playing traditional sports. I know all about them, and I just happen to know a lot about esports too, of course. But um, having that parental support, it does push students to the next level in ways that I don't think a lot of people truly understand. And it's really difficult to kind of like, I guess, combine that with esports because it's so new. People aren't really thinking about it like that yet. But I can assure you that if more parents were supportive of their children playing esports, we would see a huge explosion in talent and overall industry growth. Like we wouldn't believe. It really is going to stem from that. And you know, people like us, we got to make sure that we're pushing for that. And that's why every time I recruit, I always make sure I go out of my way to say, I'd like to speak with your parents, answer any questions that they have, stuff like that. Um, because that's support is how people get places. Like you just rarely will see somebody succeed without some kind of support background, no matter what it is. So yeah, parent support is everything, and if we can tie that in, that would be incredible.
Yeah, and with esports, scholastic esports to that point, in still the young ages, it's even more crucial for that to just
Oh,
be
yeah.
an educational experience, because
Mhm.
a kid comes home and says, "Hey, mom, I'm getting recruited for football." Their parent immediately
You're
understands
excited.
and knows what the
Yeah,
next steps are.
yeah.
And with esports, it's kind of not there yet. And hope,
We're
yeah.
still fighting the stigma. We're still fighting the stigma. It's there. But and to be honest with you, just to put it out there, it's not just the students fighting the stigma. Like it's people like me, it's program directors, it's program coordinators, club presidents, you name it. Like they're fighting it too.
Yeah.
It comes with the territory. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, so last question, just kind of, it's not even a question really. Just promote what you want, roll out your socials, anything going on with Utica anytime soon. I know you said you got the jerseys coming soon.
follow us on Twitter, follow us on Twitch, Utica Esports for Twitter, Utica University Esports for Twitch. We're taking a completely new approach this year. We're going to have two casters, a producer, and an observer for every single one of our varsity matches. all on Utica's Twitch. So we're going the distance this year. We really want to make sure we elevate our content creation, social media, everything. We're spending money on it, so hopefully it turns out okay. We'll see.
Yeah, that's awesome. Best of luck to you, and thank you for joining us, and we appreciate your time.
Thank you.